morning, guys. It's about 6:30 in the morning right now here, and I've been thinking about this topic for quite a while. And since the garbage trucks came really early this morning, I woke up and it kept me awake. So I decided it's time to talk about it. So the topic is about neurodiversity gatekeeping. And I've been seriously thinking about this topic since I realized I was autistic. During the time I waited to get diagnosed, and afterwards. So, what is this fad with neurodiversity gatekeeping? What is this bullshit? Do guys that support this view think of themselves as some kind of bouncers in front of an elite club, and they just wouldn't let anybody in unless they have the proper certificate? In my opinion, this is a very, very oppressive part of the autistic community, and I don't really want to take part of it because it is ridiculous considering a few facts. So first and most important is that autism diagnosis is very, very hard to get, and there are several factors that play a role here. But first and foremost, the criteria is so misleading and so confusing for autistic people and for the medical community as well. And most of the specialists are not trained in diagnosing adults. Not to say that in many countries they're not able to diagnose children properly as well, because of these freaking criteria. Because a child might look at them once in the eye and they will decide like, oh no, they're definitely not autistic. Like, they look me in the eye. Or some other weird symptom that they think is a must-have, so that they would give a diagnosis. They wouldn't realize it's a spectrum, and some autistic people might behave very differently than others. But yeah, this is the major factor. But there are also other factors as well. Like, what are the costs, man, to get a diagnosis? Do you realize this has become a business? That people are making a lot of money from diagnosing autism? And in my opinion, this should be like going to the doctor and, I don't know, finding out that I was thinking about giving an example with having a flu, but I don't think it's very properly, because it's still a disorder of some kind. But yeah, finding out something pretty ordinary at the doctor, and it shouldn't cost much. It should be like a regular examination. And the thing that the industry has made it so expensive only speaks for itself. Only speaks that it's a big, big propaganda, and they really want to make money out of us in that certain way. Another thing is that The autistic community that keeps its borders in the face of neurodiversity gatekeeping, uh, not only is this oppressive, but this actually creates an illusion of being disordered. So usually what I notice with people that support gatekeeping, they kind of feel, even though they don't speak about it, they feel like being a part of this community of disordered, disabled people. And they usually complain a lot about how much they've gone through, and now they've got their proper diagnosis, so now they can be part of this ridiculous repressive organ. So yeah, first factor is how hard it is to get a diagnosis. Second factor is how expensive it is to get a diagnosis. And guys, if you are part of this bunch thinking that people shouldn't be allowed to be in this community, think about how hard it was for you when you didn't have a diagnosis, when you didn't know what you are really experiencing, and you were so confused. And I know some people can wait for diagnosis for 2 years or 3 years. For me, luckily, I waited for a bit less than a year. But it was so stressful, man. It was such a stressful period in my life. My family, I was thinking I was lying to them, or I was just making a fuss, or well, at periods of times when I was getting into meltdowns, they were thinking that I'm seriously disordered and something is very wrong with me. So doesn't matter if it's one or the other, it feels very bad, like you feel very excluded. So the last thing I want to talk about is that this all benefits only the autism industry that's making hell a lot of money to make you think that you're disordered, that you're disabled. The gatekeeping community is part of that. So this is not a disorder, this is a neurological type. And when you think about it, ADHD people are like 1/10 of the world's population, and autistic people are maybe 1/50th. In my opinion, it's the percentage is higher, but doesn't matter. The fact, it's a really big part of the population, and it's ridiculous to try and make a lot of these people think they're disabled in some way. And it's most probably when we get our meltdowns, at least it's for me like that, that my friends and family will look up to me, and I would just see it in their eyes that they think, oh my god, he's sick, why is he doing that, he's severely disabled. But I know deep inside, you know, this is not the case. This is just your nervous system responding because you're way too sensitive. But being sensitive is not disabled. It's a neurological type, and it has its evolutionary advantages. And I've talked about that in a previous video. And I'm gonna talk a lot more to try to change this way of thinking. So yeah, guys, it pains me a lot to see some of you excluding some people from the community that didn't get an official diagnosis or don't exhibit some characteristics of the autistic spectrum in such a strong way, and also dividing people into high functioning, low functioning, and whatever functioning autism, which is also another bullshit. Just think about it. Think about how much the industry has gotten its grips around this phenomenon, and try to make your own opinion about it. Don't try to buy into this bullshit. It's complete bullshit. So yeah, that's about it for neurodiversity gatekeeping. Take care, guys, and may peace be with you.